From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a great Tuesday morning here on Early Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this fourth stimulus check update, we go over the breaking news that happened yesterday when the President of the United States came out with not one, but two great items that pushes fourth stimulus to the finish line. We'll go over the other four items of breaking news pushing fourth stimulus to the finish line as well, including the letter that said, we're going to do it. Oh my goodness. In this recording, we go over the fourth stimulus check, how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it, and the incredible details about that fourth stimulus check. Then we cut to fifth stimulus package in the fall that raises up your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits, and also survivor benefits. Then, in the middle of this recording, we go over the tens of thousands of dollars of money available to you right now. I want you to get it because it's early morning. You're ahead of the warm. You're ahead of everything. You're going to be early for everything. You're on Early Mornings LA, and you're going to be early for the money. This is a great morning. The toast is toasted, the butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here, and just the bacon is missing. This is Early Mornings LA. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday morning. It's a beautiful morning, and I hope you are good and wonderful where you are. The sun is just coming up here in Santa Monica, Los Angeles, and I hope your Tuesday morning is going well. So tell me how the weather is currently where you are, and tell me where you're tuning in from. I'd love to see it in the comments if you're watching this live. Jump into the live chat or in the tape comments if you're watching later in the day. This is Mornings LA, and in this recording, we're going to go over those four stimulus checks, how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it, and the six breaking details of news that's absolutely making this incredible. Then in the second half of this recording, we go over fifth stimulus. That'll raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and survivor benefits. And then in the middle of this recording, we go over the tens of thousands of dollars you can get right now. I'm really excited for you. This is LALATE, your 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel, the only one of its kind, recording live in the morning at 9 a.m. with Mornings LALATE, 9:30 with Crypto Mornings, and then noontime at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then taped in the afternoons with afternoons, evenings, and evenings crypto, and then overnight with overnight's LALATE Crypto, which is actually airing right now at the same time as this video. So after this video, jump into that one. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. Let's get there. Subscribe. Also like this video, 3,000 members and 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat in the pinned comment. All right, let's get to the fourth stimulus. Let's start with understanding how much is the fourth stimulus check. And let's understand one of the key words, names you need to remember when considering the fourth stimulus check. And that's Jalapal. Jalapal is the person who wrote the House fourth stimulus, multiple stimulus check bill. And Jalapal's provision is absolutely incredible. Let's analyze and compare it versus the Senate proposal. The House bill from Jalapal provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The Senate proposal, on the other hand, provides a stimulus check from July to December. If you're in the live chat just after 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 o'clock on the East Coast, get ready to vote which one you like, House or Senate. But don't vote yet because we have to go over the details of what's really at issue here. So while Jalapal may look like there is more checks at issue, let's go over the monthly amount. House proposal is $2,000 a month, $2,000 first month, and then $1,000 thereafter. The Senate amount is unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Wow, incredible, great news. The Senate proposal may be $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400. Wow, that is per individual. Now, let's go back to Jalapal because this is important to understand. Jalopal provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. But some now wonder if the pandemic for legislative purposes, not for purposes of the virus, but for legislative purposes, may be over by the time the vote happens. If that's the case, then Jalopal will only be providing 12 months of stimulus checks, not pandemic plus a year, but just pandemic. That would amount to $13,000 under Jalopal's bill, compared to the Senate proposal, which would be nearly the same amount in just half the amount of time. So which one do you like, House versus Senate? The votes are always split, still, believe it or not, among viewers. So which one do you like? Jump in the live chat or post to the comments section, House versus Senate. Also say where you're watching. I'd love to see where people are tuning in for. So let's go over the other items that you need to know about forced stimulus. First, who gets it? You do. If you make less than $75,000, you get the forced stimulus check. Eligibility is the same as the third stimulus check. $150,000 or less, married couple, you get the forced stimulus check. Just double it. For a household 4 or less, you get the forced stimulus check. Just quadruple it. And yes, it's limited at a household of 4. And if you're on benefits, you get the forced stimulus check. So yes, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, you get the forced stimulus check. Is there a different stimulus check amount for different people? No. Same check for adult dependents, minor dependents, everyone else across the board. Is it taken out for child support? We don't know that answer yet. Does it come out in waves? Nope, it can't. Remember, I'm just a reporter. I report the news. I'm not a representative. They represent. The legislators make the representations, and their representations, the vote will be by July 4th. That means the first stimulus check would be in the month of July for the month of July. August for the month of August. Incredible, great news. So is this income? No. Is it taxable? No. And how do they do it? They've already started the process, and they have literally nearly finished writing the legislation in a 2-bill, 2-step, 2-month process called reconciliation. But guess what? I don't have just 4. I now have 6 breaking details of news, including 2 that came from the president yesterday, which even surprised me. I just keep on getting surprised. And I usually don't get surprised. I just keep on getting surprised by this stuff. And that's coming up in just a second. But first, let me give you a preview of the second half of this recording. In the second half of this recording, we go over fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus is in September. It's a different bill. But like fourth stimulus, it has an add-on. Instead of stimulus checks, it's the reform, SSI reform. And yes, it's for you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits. They'll raise your benefits up to a big new number. Then they'll apply a benchmark, inflation. We all know what inflation is. But what is going to be the inflation rate in December? Well, we're getting a little more sense of where this is landing. And it's starting to look really great. I'll have all those details breaking in the second half of this recording. But now let's get to the big money. I want you to get a pen and paper ready because I have a lot of money, tens of thousands of dollars to get you right now. And you've been doing a great job of getting this money. I got to really thank you. You've been doing a really good job listening to these videos and getting the money because I've seen your messages. Simon yesterday sent me a message saying, I got the rent. Someone told me they got this other money, other item I'm going to tell you in a second. So viewers are doing really well, and I'm really excited about that. So get that pen and paper ready. Stay with me to the very end because I got a lot of money for you in this video, and it starts right now. First, $350 billion is now landing in cities and counties and states across the country. It'll be landing next week as well. And it includes money for rent, renters' utilities, homeowners' utilities, and homeowners' mortgage. So where do you get it? 6 places, 6 possible places. City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. You reach out to them and ask for rent assistance because of COVID. Don't use the word stimulus. They won't know what that means. Rent assistance because of COVID. Each location can have a different eligibility criterion. So one may say no and another may say yes. They also have their own pot of money. So they're all quite different. And how much money can you get? Rent is about $5,000. 4 to 6 months of rent. Wow, incredible, great news. Then there's money for utilities. There is money for mortgage. And there's money for homeowners' utilities. So go get it. Then I got other money for you. And this is SNAP. What is SNAP? It is money for food. Wow. And how do you get it? From Department of Agriculture, DOA, which you want to call them up on the phone. And if you can't find their phone number, call 211 and get connected over. How much money do you get? A family of 4 in Hawaii now gets $16,000 a year. Oh, wow. Why so much? Because of 2 executive orders, one from Trump and one from Biden that raised it 15% for everyone from January to December of this year. So go get it. It is money for food. It is one of the big success stories. And I had Ivan yesterday get rent. I had another person yesterday say they got SNAP. I don't go a single day now without seeing an incredible message for someone who said they got rent or SNAP. And if you're one of those viewers, send me a message either in the comments or in DM. I love to see it. It really motivates me because it says that people are really getting the money that is theirs. This is your money. They wanted you to get this money, the federal government. This is your money. All right, now let's turn to some automatic money. We love automatic money. And I got two of them from two different places. First one is from your state. I'm going to go over how much it is, then how do you get it, and then finally, when do you get it? First, how much money it is. It's $1,000. It's a couple thousands of dollars. One viewer told me he's getting $5,000. So what is this money? The federal government has identified states as overpaying unemployment benefits during the last year to no fault of your own due to a state computer's malfeasance, and then telling you to return the money back to them, and you did. Well, the federal government said you should not have had to return the money back. That was your money to keep. So the federal government has ordered the states to return the money back to you, the viewer. Wow, incredible, great news. So how are you going to receive it? The way you would have normally received your unemployment benefits. Finally, when are you going to receive it? You're going to receive it in the same way in which you're going to receive it in the same way in which you receive your benefits. But when? Every state has a different routing time, so reach out to a respective state. All right, now let's turn to the incredible money from the federal government. We're going to go over how much, then how, and when. The how is the real important message I think I have to really hit very hard in this video. So let's go over how much. It's the amount you paid on taxes to IRS for your 2020 unemployment 2020 return for unemployment. So here's the example. You filed a 2020 tax return. You had $9,000 of unemployment in 2020. Your total tax bill was $5,000, of which $4,000 was the taxes on unemployment. Congratulations, you're getting a return back to you of $4,000. Incredible, great news. Next, how are you getting it? Unless you listed a direct deposit account on the return, you're getting it in the mail. And it's a beige or white envelope. Inside is a beige check written from IRS to Treasury to you. And it'll say refund. Now, this is the real important news, is that the envelopes are razor thin. If you've never seen one of these envelopes from IRS, they are razor thin check envelopes. So if you have one of those mail carriers that badly puts checks in the mailbox between the supermarket's coupons, then you really have to be careful with the mail between now and maybe the first or second week of June, because it may be slid in there. All right, so finally, when are you getting it? Everyone is expected to have their checks sent out in May, and then the checks would land could potentially land the first week of June. So phase one was paid out last week. That's single filers, no dependence on the return, no other refunds. They're considered simple returns. Phase two started at the end of last week, this week now, single filers with complex returns. And then phase three starts the middle of this week, which are joint filers like husband and wife. Incredible, great news. So there you go. I mean, look how we're doing. 13 minutes of this video. I've gotten you $5,000 for rent, $16,000 in Hawaii for SNAP. We are doing really well. Some automatic money. We're rocking and rolling. But now it's time to turn to, I think you could feel it. I could feel it coming on. The great, exciting breaking news that came out of the White House yesterday, and the other breaking news, which is just incredible, about your fourth stimulus. There's now 6 items of breaking news. And what's important for me to show you is I'm going to go in chronological order from when they started late last week all the way up to late yesterday. And you're going to see how it's sort of snowballing. It is snowballing. It's just one after another and just continues to ramp up in speed. It's all great news. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, great news. So it starts, again, with Jalopal. It started originally with Jalopal, and it's continuing now with Jalopal. Remember, Jalopal wrote that House bill, which I detailed earlier in this video. The monthly stimulus checks. It's $2,000 and $1,000, pandemic plus 1 year. So Jalopal wrote a letter to Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi. And what does the Jalopal letter say? It basically says, call the vote. What are we doing here? What are we waiting for? Who are we waiting for? Call the vote. We're done. We've been working on these bills. Just call the vote. Now, the Jalopal letter is co-signed by a couple dozen House members. And which dozen House members are they? They're some of the 100-plus House and Senate members who originally signed a letter supporting Jalopal's monthly stimulus check bill when it was introduced to the House. Wow, this is incredible, great news. But it gets better. Then we got to this letter. This letter was from 7 House members to the president himself. And in the letter, the senators say, not senators, House members, to the president themselves. And in the letter, the 7 House members say, we will work with you to put in multiple stimulus checks into the 4th stimulus package. Now, that's a euphemism, work with him, because legislators write laws, write bills. The president doesn't write a bill. The Congress writes bill. House and senators write bills. But they're basically saying, we'll work together and talking them through it, and we'll write the laws. So why is this even better news than that? Because the 7 people in the House that wrote the letter are part of the subcommittee that actually writes stimulus checks. The House Ways and Means Committee is the part of the House that actually does stimulus check writing. When we had the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd stimulus packages, each subcommittee was delegated something, labor and unemployment and education. This is the one that does stimulus checks, and they're telling the president, we're going to work with you to put multiple stimulus checks in the 4th stimulus package. Can't get any better than that. That is Captain Obvious, which brings me now to the first great news from the president and the 2 other great news from the president yesterday. The first great news hit last Friday when the president of the United States came out and said, hey, I'll come down in my counteroffer, Republicans, by $600 billion because that $600 billion is somewhere else in another bill, which basically says he's not moving a penny. The Republicans started the negotiations at $500 billion and are still at $500 billion. So they're not moved a penny, and they will not be moving a penny. The president, on the other hand, is doing exactly the same thing, which means the following, that he's going to reconciliation. In fact, he's made it very clear he's going to reconciliation. He's finishing with reconciliation. Understand reconciliation's already started. He's finishing with reconciliation. He's told his legislators that by Memorial Day weekend, he's stopping these daily lunch chats with Republicans. There will be no more bipartisan negotiations. He'll be done because he says they've not been fruitful. And guess what? This is Tuesday. You got Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, unless, leave early for the weekend. Mitch, I'm leaving early for the weekend. Why, Joe? LA told me to leave early for the weekend. Unless they leave early for the weekend, we just cough another day. We're into recon voting quicker than that. So he's going to have these lunch meetings. Yeah, they're trying every version of lunch, pizza and salmon and chicken, until they're done, eating their faces out, and then they're ready to call the vote. So that was what we learned on Friday. Then yesterday we had even more jaw-dropping great news. 2 items of great news from the president late yesterday. They're a little complicated, so I'm going to slow this one down on it. About 3 weeks ago, I told you the president had made a great deal with those moderate Democrats on the corporate tax rate, which is how the 4th stimulus is paid for. The corporate tax rate in the United States is currently 21%. The Democrats think it's too low. The president wants it at 28%, 29% initially. The moderate Democrats went at 25%. The president said, I'll go to 25%. Deal. He said that a few weeks ago. So what did he do yesterday at the end of the day? He had been trying for weeks to get something called the global corporate tax rate at an agreed number. Why is there a global tax rate? Because the notion is a company, for example, in Santa Monica may move its operations to Ireland. If the president raises the corporate tax rate to, let's say, 25%, it may move its operations to Ireland. So the president wanted to try to get world countries together to agree to the lowest corporate tax rate so no company would flee to another country to find a lower rate. Very easy concept. So he made a deal with the G7 countries of 15%, which was much lower than anyone thought the president would go down to. 15%, which is lower than where we are now, 21%. And so far, the indication is the G7 countries may agree to this. Wow, that's the first great news. The second great news, and this is the one that just shocked me, is that if the G7 countries agree to a global tax rate of 15%, and we're at 25%, which is higher, then the president will reportedly drop our corporate tax rate back to where it is right now at 21%, because at that point we'll be seen as too high globally compared to other G7 countries, which will mean we'll be back at the corporate tax rate where we are now and also get multiple stimulus checks? No way. This is just insane. This is just, so he's finding ways to pay for stuff in a different way. Oh my goodness. And then finally, the last one I have to add with end with, which is legislators usually don't tell you what they're legislating. As AOC once famously said, legislators just sort of give you the bill in your face and say, go vote on this in 10 minutes. I'm like, how can I read 3,000 pages in 10 minutes? She says they do that notoriously. They don't tell you what they're doing, let alone that they finished writing something. Well, in the case of forced stimulus, they're doing a little bit different. They're actually saying they're almost finished writing, call the vote. And it started with Kristen Gillibrand, Democrat out of New York, saying, why should we wait? Just call the vote. Absolutely not. We shouldn't wait because Democrats may lose our coalition for human infrastructure. I don't think the White House should relegate recovery to the judgment of Mitch McConnell because Mitch will not function in good faith. So I just think it's a political misstep. Then Representative Ruben Gallego, a Democrat out of Arizona, says Republicans are not being even players, so Democrats should just move on without them. Then Representative Mark Pocan, who's Democrat of Wisconsin, says, at what points do Republicans seriously come to the table to negotiate? If Republicans don't come to the table, it doesn't mean Democrats don't serve the meal. That's referring to your forced stimulus. And then Senator Majority Whip Dick Durbin says, Democrats ought to have negotiations with Republicans, but be prepared to finish with reconciliation. Well, thank you. And then finally, Representative Ro Khanna, who does not mince words, Democrat out of California, says, I think Democrats should move forward on our bill. Thank you for that obvious statement. It doesn't get any better than that. But guess what? I got a surprise for you. Yes, there is even a very fluid but very great news of something that could be coming back. And I don't mean welcome back, Carter. Could be coming back into forced stimulus. And it's coming up in the second half of this recording, so stay with me. But in the meantime, if you need help with rent, utilities, homeowners assistance or utilities, reach out to the volunteers. If you try to get at the money yourself and you're having problems, because first, please try yourself. Please try yourself first. Usually when you do it yourself, you usually get the most amount of money, and you may find more than even the volunteers find. But if you can't find it yourself, reach out to the volunteers who are absolutely wonderful. They're viewers just like you. And they've been sending messages, they've been on the live chats, they're just making sure that everyone's getting taken care of. They're salt of the earth. So reach out to the volunteers. How do you find them? They're in the description of this video. Open the description of this video, you'll see an emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of the house, you'll see the community page that sends you to news.lalate.com/community. They're volunteers just like you who have stepped forward to help others. That's the Purple Power Spirit. Reach out to them. They can help you for utilities, homeowners assistance, and mortgage as well. And guess what? I'll be back in about 60 seconds with you. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. Coming up after the commercial break, I'll have more details about your forced stimulus and also your fist stimulus. Stay with me. I'll be back in about 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Early Morning Rains LALATE. The toast is toasting. The butter is butter, and the coffee is brewing, or espresso, or espresso teeny if you need lectural for yourself this morning. One of my friends said, what do you have for breakfast? Espresso teeny. Oh, boy. Just little bit more of a kick to start the day. How are you? How's the weather where you are? Drop in the comments where you are tuning in. Tell me how the weather is. It's a big morning, and it's a big early morning to LA, and I'm excited you are here. This is LA, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, financial news across the board. I want you to subscribe. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. In the second half of this video, you can see why membership is very important. Coming up next is Mornings LA at 9 a.m. and then Mornings Crypto at 9:30, followed by noontime here on LA at 11 a.m. And currently airing live on the channel is Overnight Crypto. So jump into that show right after this. This video will send you automatically to Overnight Crypto, currently playing for its 12-hour run. Wow, let's get to the details of fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus is that incredible reform across the board, and I saw some questions about this yesterday, so I'll be answering them right on air right now. Fifth stimulus will raise your benefits levels, add your asset limits, and then increase add inflationary benchmark in this SSI and SSDI reform. It will remove the income exclusion and then remove the marriage penalty. So let's go over this SSI and SSDI reform in the fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus is this fall. Like fourth stimulus, it's a two-step process called reconciliation. And in there, they're going to do SSI reform. But it's more than just SSI. It's you. It's if you are on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, or SSA or multiple benefits. Your benefits will be raised up to a big new number. That would be your big new number going forward they represent. Then they're going to tie your benefits to inflation, which is absolutely incredible. What does tying your benefits to inflation mean? It means that in December, you get a letter next year. In December, you get a letter saying next year, your benefits will go up this percentage, which is the inflation percentage. So what is inflation? We don't really know because we are currently in, the spring going into the summer, and we're trying to guess what it's going to be and estimate what it's going to be in November, December. And we heard from Jeremy Siegel, economist, Wharton School of Business, a week ago saying it's going to be 20%. We heard from Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, 2%, which most people don't think that's going to be that way because he doesn't want to give you a higher rate. And then we heard from the Atlanta head of the Federal Reserve that said the growth rate will go from 4 to 10.5%, which looks like we could be talking about 5, 6, 7% inflation. Friday, we were seeing a lot of analysts saying it is not going to be 2.5%. It's going to be a lot higher. So it looks like it may be 5 to 7% inflation. Hard to tell still, but this is all incredible great news. Let's say it's 6% inflation. This is how it would work. They would raise your benefits up under fifth stimulus. Then they would apply a new benchmark, and that benchmark would kick in November. That benchmark would say, hi, 6% inflation. And that benchmark would step you up even higher. And when they step you up, you're not going to step you down. That benchmark would stay there lifetime. It's incredible great news across the board. So going forward, your benefits would be +6 and not come down. That's how benefits work. They don't step down, they stay up or stay flat. What else is in fifth stimulus? Well, also in fifth stimulus is the asset cap would be gone. Just in time for those stimulus checks. The asset cap is dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't keep more than $3,000 on hand. It's going to go away. Then they're going to remove the income cap. It's dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't stay on benefits and also work. Now you'll be able to work and make $1,000, $2,000 a month to stay on benefits. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Thank goodness. The marriage penalty has been horrible. If you want to get married, you can't. You lose benefits. And if you are married, you lose benefits. So they're going to get rid of it. Now you can marry your long-term love interest, and love is going to win. The marriage penalty is going to be gone. And if you are married, you will no longer suffer from it. Incredible, great news. So when is fifth stimulus? It's in September. It will impact your benefits by around, I'd say about October, November. And then the step up, you get that letter in December. Well, what's important to understand is that fifth stimulus has a lot of other items in there besides just the SSI and SSDI reform. And in a video that's 30 minutes in length, it's already 29 minutes currently, I can't cover everything in what's fifth stimulus. And that's why it's great to become a member. Members have access to all the details of what's in all the stimulus packages. The fifth stimulus package is called by the President of the United States the Families Plan, but it's not just for families. It's a misnomer because actually there's money in there for single individuals. There's money in there for hazard pay. There's money in there for single seniors, for lower medical costs. So there's a lot of stuff in there for fifth stimulus that's not just for families. And there's not enough time in a single video for me to go over it. Moreover, it's important to understand that as we go into July, there's not one but 3 items happening in the month of July. And with all those things happening in July, you really need some guidance. Third stimulus has money going out. Fourth stimulus has this vote, or if not earlier. And there actually is a standalone bill in July that has nothing to do with stimulus. But if you looked at that standalone bill, you may think, that's my stimulus bill? So it's easy to get confused. For example, the children's check from third stimulus lands in July. That's third stimulus. That's not fourth stimulus. So people are getting confused because there's so many stimulus packages, but members aren't confused because I break them down. Third stimulus, fourth stimulus, and fifth stimulus, separating out all the provisions across the board. So let's go back to fourth stimulus and incredible great news across the board on that one. Rental assistance, mortgage assistance, the eviction moratorium, and mortgage forbearance are not coming back under fourth stimulus so far as we see. They're not coming back. But the surprise was those 7 members of the House Ways and Means Committee in that letter to the President of the United States said they're going to work with him to extend unemployment benefits under the fourth stimulus. Really? No one saw this coming. I'm shocked. Again, I'm surprised. I did not see this coming. I don't know which ones they're going to do. It's a very fluid situation. It's far from over, and this is a big surprise. So we'll track this over the next few days. I don't know where we're going on this one, but this is a big surprise. But the real important news is that when you look at fourth stimulus, legislators understand that people need stimulus checks for a very simple reason. The pandemic's ending. The pandemic's ending. The mass mandates are ending. People are getting back to work, or they're getting back to normal, or they're going out and they're moving around. But there's something else that's still there. Debt. Debt is still left over from the pandemic. People had debt because of this pandemic, and the debt is still there. And we need to get rid of that debt. And the only way we get rid of those bills is a quick cash infusion of stimulus checks. That's why Democratic legislators love stimulus checks, and some Republicans do as well, because of a quick cash infusion to get you caught up on those bills. And guess what? I'm excited you have joined me on this Early Mornings LALATE. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, let's get to 1 million. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. After this video, stay with it. It will automatically send you over to the live show currently underway, 12-hour show, Overnight Crypto. It's a lot of fun, a lot of familiar faces, chat about anything you want to chat about, and learn some information along the way. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful morning. Thank you for joining me on Early Mornings LALATE, and join me next on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Stay informed, stay focused, always stay positive, always stay informed, and stay with LA for more.